Hello, and welcome to the Lumpy Space Podcast, where we take Adventure Time kinda seriously. I'm your host for today, Alex Bonilla, and I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hey.
Hello there. This is a new podcast that you may or may not recognize our voices from our appearances on the Overly Animated podcast. Over there, they cover a lot of current animated series, including Adventure Time, which is already going into its 10th season or 9th season, depending on who you ask. But it's a long way in.
It's old.
It's very old. And both me and Sam are long-time watchers of the show. So we wanted to embark on a kind of a full rewatch just to get ourselves into the atmosphere that the finale may or may not provide us with, and just catch up on a show that was important to us for different reasons as we were growing up. And so we figured it might be worth a shot to share this experience with anybody who cares to listen. And so thus, the Lumpy Space Podcast is born. Sam, do you want to just share a little bit of background about your experience with Adventure Time?
So I started watching Adventure Time when I was a freshman in college, solely because I heard it was gay, or that gay stuff was happening. So aka what was happening with Marceline and Bubblegum with, what was missing at the time. And so I watched, like, the entire series within a couple of days, and, I fell in love with it, kept up with it. That was, 6 years ago, I think. So, yeah, love it. Great. Love Adventure Time.
Yeah, I think I was around the same time as you, like 2012, 2013-ish, or around there. But my brother was into Adventure Time. At the time, I was still like a dumb kid who was like, cartoons are for babies. Even though I watched SpongeBob, but that was it. But then Adventure Time showed up, and it was like, this is kind of weird, kind of SpongeBob-y, but not really. And so I just caught episodes with him, and I got into it, and then I realized, whoa, this is a little bit smarter than SpongeBob. Especially as the show kept going, and then just from there, I developed into a fan of just all the craziness that this show has. And I credit Adventure Time with kind of introducing me to cartoons being smart, to animation being a medium that you can really take advantage of, and eventually leading me to other shows like Steven Universe and all the other shows we cover over there in Overly Animated. So Adventure Time is just really important to me as a consumer of media. It opened me up to a lot of other kinds of shows out there. So yeah, we both have our reasons for loving Adventure Time, and so we'll dive into it. And the first episode, for some people, that maybe there are original people out there who are following this since the pilot or whatever. But the first officially aired episode on Cartoon Network was Slumber Party Panic. This is an episode. Sam, if you were to describe what this episode is about, what would be your one sentence description?
The zombie apocalypse. Except not.
It's a bold way to begin a show, right? Hey, here, the zombies are going to kill you all. If we wanted to cement it into one sentence. But this episode in particular is very, very goofy. Epitomizes the hashtag random humor that Adventure Time was associated with.
LOL, so random.
Yeah.
We have candy zombies and royal promises and a bunch of other stuff.
We've got a couple of. I think there were a couple of fart jokes in there.
Oh yeah, there were.
Yeah, it was very jarring, just how, I guess, simplistic the humor was at some points. But I think there are some jokes that do land in the middle there. But there are three different things we can talk about. We can talk about Princess Bubblegum and Finn. We can talk about Jake, or we can talk about the candy people.
Let's not talk about Jake, because let's start about talking about Jake by saying I don't want to talk about Jake. Because this is the signifier of Jake being so smugly annoying in the first couple seasons. I can't stand him like this. He's he's like a stoner. Come on.
I think he gets a bit more annoying in other episodes. Like here, he doesn't bother me that much, but you do get that he's kind of there just to push Finn around. Like, oh, you got to tell me everything, bro. But and like he exploits the truth or dare mechanism, which is very I think that's against the rules, right? You can't just say I dare you to tell the truth. Like that's not how that game works.
Well, yeah, I haven't played Truth or Dare since like 2005, so I'm not sure if that's actually what happens. But, given the media's pushing of Truth or Dare situations, I'm going to assume that's what happens.
Yeah, I just think it's an exploiting of how the basics of the game goes. But in any case, Jake does this. Also, he takes the time to smell the sock to know that Finn's lie is beginning to unravel. He says it smells like Mr. Cream Puff. Although I guess he's a dog, so I guess his specific sense of smell is, I guess, functional. Actually, here they do kind of push that he's a dog a bit more than I remember them doing in earlier seasons, because also they make the joke, well, I'm not supposed to eat chocolate because otherwise I'll die. Like in later seasons, like we don't actually care if he's a dog. There's like nothing about him that actually says dog.
And then we learn even later on that he's only like part dog.
Right. At the end, we get his whole genealogy. But here he just, hey, I'm a stretchy dog, and I have a health system of a dog apparently. Yeah, and I guess the only other thing about Jake is that we are also introduced to Lady Rainicorn here. Are they already dating? Because like
I guess
because they're like chasing each other in like the first frames of the episode before we pan over to Princess Bubblegum and Finn, and then they have the 7 minutes in heaven in the closet.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, there's like there's an episode a couple episodes later of him meeting her parents, and it's like a whole thing. So I'm pretty sure by now they're dating, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I actually went to go to because obviously later Rainicorn speaks Korean, so we need to always translate what she's saying by going to transcripts somewhere. And when she's going into the closet, she said she doesn't seem to be totally with it because she says something like, "What, me? You got to be kidding me." Okay, then I'll play. So like it seems that I'm not sure if from that you're supposed to get that she doesn't want to go in.
Maybe this was the impetus of their get together.
Yeah, that's what, because like at first glance, like, okay, well, they must already be dating if Finn's like, hey, go with Lady. But is Finn the matchmaker? Is this what set it all off to then them having little dog unicorn babies later?
Yes.
So yeah, Jake is kind of annoying in this, but although I think he gets worse in later episodes. But he's kind of the impetus for Finn letting go of his promise. So we can move over to Finn and Princess Bubblegum here. Princess Bubblegum's first experiment in the show is to bring candy people back from the dead. Why?
I don't know, because they just wanted to make a zombie storyline, I guess.
Yeah, like, is this ever a good idea?
They wanted to showcase, oh, she's into science, so she's gonna try to be like a Dr. Frankenstein and, bring life to the unlifed, the dead.
Right. And our first knowledge of Princess Bubblegum's backstory is that her first victim, I guess, is Mr. Cream Puff, who used to date.
Her first victim?
Well,
what does that mean?
Of this terrible experiment.
Okay, I thought you meant like her first like romantic victim. I'm like,
Well,
are you implying that she's like a Black Widow?
Wow, we don't actually know how Mr. Cream Puff died, do we?
I'm gonna assume that he just like went bad over time because candy doesn't last forever.
Have we seen candy people die in this show? Actually, like die of old age?
Old age? I don't know.
Yeah, but Reaper guy because he gets stomped on by somebody or electrified or something like that. But like just of natural causes, how would a candy person die?
Getting stale.
I guess. But and so yeah, this gives us our first insight into Princess Bubblegum, and actually, Mr. Cream Puff came back very recently for the first time in a season 9 episode Bonilla Bubblegum. So it took them a while to get back, but we finally got another Cream Puff appearance.
Doesn't he appear in the what do you call it, the Shoko?
Yeah, he does too. When we get an insight into into the Candy Kingdom's early days, he's alongside Princess Bubblegum. That's true. But Mr. Cream Puff, they notice that it hasn't gone right, and soon he bumps the bad liquid into the other graves, and they're all sugar desiring zombies. One even says, "Give me some sugar, baby," to Princess Bubblegum. So that was a little creepy.
I mean, in real life, this wouldn't be a problem. In fact, I think it would be the most ideal situation to have zombies if they just crave sugar.
Well, see, the thing is, I think it's the equivalent, right? Because like
obviously
human zombies,
it is.
Yeah, human zombies crave human flesh, so candy people would crave candy flesh. So,
I'm just saying, like, if this was real life and we had zombies that crave sugar, it wouldn't be that big of a problem, I don't think.
Yeah,
maybe you would get attacked by, like, holding a candy bar, but he would just eat the candy bar and not you, so count your blessings.
We definitely could coexist with them a lot better if that's all we needed to satisfy them. So Princess Bubblegum's plan is to order everyone to get into the castle. There's a joke here. We're introduced to Tree Trunks for the first time. I forgot that she was in the first episode. Get those hot buns in here. So another double entendre joke.
The beginning of Tree Trunk, the sexy elephant.
Yeah. We'll get more into that once we get to the Tree Trunks episode, which is very soon. But from the very beginning, we already had her personality set in stone. So Princess Bubblegum decides, hey, the way to distract candy people with a slumber party, and all the candy people are dumb, so they fall for this. The Princess Bubblegum explains that they have to be distracted because if they get scared, they explode. But I don't think that comes back again in the rest of the show, does it?
I don't think so. Why would they explode? Are they like party poppers? Are they like science for volcanoes? Like, what's going on? What's the science behind that, Princess Bubblegum?
Yeah, maybe there's like some kind of sugar reaction where like if you agitate sugar too much. Somebody who has cooking experience, please let us know if anything with sugar can explode. Actually, they show Starchy. He's one of my favorites, and here very early he's just very oblivious. I'll wait here with my back turned and defenses lowered. But do we think he actually exploded there, or was this just like a demonstration of what would happen?
I thought he got bit at first, to be honest. Yeah, maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Well, like the weird part is he returns at the end of the episode, so it's like, did they heal him with the same liquid that they healed the zombies, or was it just that he never actually exploded?
Maybe.
Yeah. So, but fortunately, Starchy lives. He makes stronger appearances in later episodes, but I enjoyed him here. Eventually, Finn manages to ward the zombies off with various party games. The final one is he blindfolds all the candy people and tricks them into thinking they're piñatas. And the candy people eat the candy out of the zombies. Like that's unsanitary.
That's some cannibalism right there.
Yeah, so like in a way, are these candy people now zombies too? Because they're like, are you a zombie if you consume zombie flesh?
Huh. I don't know. I'm not sure if that has ever come up in the zombie media I have personally consumed. So maybe they're trying to make new rules here.
Yeah, because obviously in a normal situation you would never like willingly consume it, but like there has to be like a situation where somebody has been so desperate in one of those stories where they feel the need to actually consume one of these people.
Well, it would like be rotten meat, right? So you don't want to eat rotten meat. So
You don't willingly, but like I guess like if somebody like was really desperate and like tried putting it over a fire, I don't.
I'm sure somebody in the alternate zombie universes has tried that. I am unsure of the success.
Yeah, in any case, it seems like a bad idea for these candy people to be just eating candy out of these dead people's stomachs. But they do, and Finn, who has made a royal promise to Princess Bubblegum not to tell them, he feels safe now. It's like, yeah, we were just trying to figure out how to cure the zombies, and Jake's like, whoa, and then freeze frame. And we get to the Guardians of the Royal Promise, who are just the Gumball Guardians from later episodes.
Which we find out that Princess Bubblegum actually made, so, like, what's going on there?
Right. It's a strange departure from what we later see them to be. They're initially going to put trial by fire, but then the Princess Bubblegum pleads for mercy, and fine, a math question. Our first mathematical of the show. But
algebraic.
Yeah, later we'll get algebraic. Here we just got a mathematical. They first show a complex algebra equation. I'm not sure if that was real math or not. But the Guardian says, "Wait, I thought of a better one." And 2 plus 2. That seemed like a very simple joke, but yeah. But fortunately, Finn gets it right on the first try, and there's this actually really cool like reset animation thing where like it goes back, like it looks like it's going backwards as the screen is shaking. Like I was actually impressed by that little piece of animation there. And it turns out that 4, the answer to 2 plus 2, was the missing variable in the equation, and so they're able to cure the candy zombies, and everybody's happy. Hooray! Actually, there I saw that Mr. Cream Puff is actually healed in this, but we never see him again in the real, like in our current world. So like, did he die again, or like how does that work? Like if you cure someone who is dead, but how quickly do they die again?
I don't know. I mean, for example, in Steven Universe, Lars is functionally immortal, I think, right? So, could be, he might be immortal. He could have just, like, ran away, like, you know, Princess Bubblegum, you broke my heart. I don't want to live here with you. See you later. I don't know, bro.
Ooh, off-screen drama. I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning, she does mention that they'll come back young like you, Finn. So, so maybe it's just like a second chance, and they just get to live a second life. Who knows? Mr. Cream Puff is living out his fantasies, I assume.
Yeah.
But it seems that at the end, Princess Bubblegum is laying out the moral, like you shouldn't break promises, and Finn's basically like, nah, it was fun. I got to fight zombies and reverse death, so whatever. So it's like a anti-moral at the end of the day. And the ending gag is Starchy bites Finn's leg. He thinks flesh is tasty, and then don't squeeze me, I'll fart, and he farts. And cut to credits.
My favorite, a fart joke.
Yeah, that was a bad joke to end on. But I think my MVP for this episode is Starchy in the end, just because like his middle joke is pretty funny, or just him walking through the cemetery being very oblivious. And at the end, while the joke itself was bad, but it's just like a nice happy candy person. Happy, joy. Who do you think's the best part of this episode?
I don't know. Probably, what's his face? Mr. Cupcake, is that his name? The really the buff cupcake who, like, is dared to go nude.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. Apparently they were very surprised he was chocolate.
Also, something that really kind of bothered me throughout the episode that you don't see in later season episodes, but it's like sprinkled throughout season 1. Seeing the whites of people's eyes.
Yeah, I guess we can talk a little bit about the designs here, because also like Finn, they go very deep into his like weird faces sometimes, and But like the faces, I think is what stood out to me, like just how much more cartoony they are than in later seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it didn't bother me too much. At least I don't think as much as you, but it is noticeable, especially when you think to how much more consistent the drawings are these days.
Oh, it wasn't like a game breaker. It was just like, oh, there's the whites of the eyes. That we haven't seen that in like 8 years.
Yeah, and I think it just contributes to the general extra goofiness of this episode. And I guess we can talk a little just about like how this serves as an intro to the show, right? Because it drops you in the middle of this universe. You're left to fend for yourself. Like, okay, this is a Candy Kingdom. There are weird things that happen. Finn and Jake, I guess, are brothers. What's going on here? But like, I think today it's more common now for shows to do this. But I think there was a time where this would have been very strange to be your first episode. How do you feel about like introducing the environment slowly versus just throwing yourself into something like this?
I think for the case of Adventure Time, it works with the tone. Like presenting Finn and Jake as brothers is like, oh, I guess they're brothers, and then later on we get more of an explanation for that. I think if it were maybe less of a goofy sort of show, slowly building up the things would be better. Like how Steven Universe was. Like we didn't really get thrown super into the mythology that much. Like we were learning as Steven was learning. But with here, it's just, here's the Candy Kingdom and, the Land of Ooh and all this other stuff. And then we learn later what the backstory is. And I think that really works.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting contrast and one that we'll be doing, I guess, at various times through this, comparing it to Steven Universe. Like, yeah, Gem Glow in particular, like it is a goofy in its own right compared to later episodes of the show, but it does feel a lot more standard than what Adventure Time does here, for sure. So yeah, I think we've covered all of the episode. I'm just going through like trivia here. Oh yeah, it says here that Jake comes out from 7 Minutes in Heaven eating jelly donuts. Does that have any meaning, or
I
am
hope
I missing
not.
something there? Like, where did he get a donut? Like, why would that? I guess the closet could have donuts. So that's totally believable in this universe, but I don't know. Considering the connotations of 7 Minutes in Heaven, I hope that doesn't mean something else.
I don't know, because Lady Ranicorn isn't made of candy, so hopefully eating a jelly donut doesn't mean anything, but I can see how it means something. Something kind of yeah.
Yeah, something that probably won't be appropriate for this podcast. But yeah, and so with that, I think we are going to conclude here. So all in all, I guess we only have one episode to go off of, but would you say this is a good episode, a bad episode, meh?
It was okay. Hashtag.
Okay. For me, it was better than I remembered it. Like I felt like I was smiling a lot more than I was expecting to, and maybe it's just because I'm going through Adventure Time again. But yeah, there are like some jokes that work, some jokes that don't, and it's just all around very, very goofy. But I think that's what I've already come to expect with early Adventure Time. So that concludes our first installment of the Lumpy Space Podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed our discussion, and we'll be continuing our rewatch slowly but surely through the series. You can find out info on our parent podcast at overlyanimated.com, where for now we'll be having information on this podcast. Wherever you're listening to us, whether it be on the Overly Animated website, on iTunes, or on any other podcatcher, we would greatly appreciate any reviews and comments to let us know how we're doing and what we can do to keep this light and fun in reflection of the show that we're covering here. You can also contact us through Discord if you want to chat with us about Adventure Time or any other animated property. You can find us there at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can also support our parent podcast via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. We want to give thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Hugh, aka Hugh Neutron. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Andy, and Hugh. In any case, we'll be seeing you next time with Trouble in Lumpy Space. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh wait, there's more. Hi, and welcome to the Lumpy Space Podcast, where we take Adventure Time kinda seriously. I'm Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hi.
Welcome to our Adventure Time Rewatch podcast. You are joining us on the second episode. If you couldn't tell by the intro, we will be discussing for the first time the origins of our podcast name, none other than Lumpy Space Princess.
Oh my glob!
Yeah, we finally reached it. Two episodes in, our inspiration here. But you can find more about our parent podcast at earlyanimated.com. If you want to find our first episode on the first episode of the show. Wow, I already forgot the first episode of the show. Slumber Party Panic. Yeah, there it is.
Oh my glob, Alex.
Hey, I'm thinking about Lumpy Space Princess here. Forgive me for already forgetting about the goofiness.
I know, she's so distracting.
Yeah. So,
her lumps.
How do you feel about Lumpy Space Princess, Sam?
Well, I felt kind of like lukewarm on her in the beginning, like when I first started watching the show. But, as time went on, and as, we got more episodes about her, I really like her. I love her voice. I love her attitude. She is, the best. She's not the best character of Adventure Time, but she's, definitely up there as being one of the most entertaining characters, at the very least.
I know that she definitely annoyed me when I was first watching the show, but I think, but obviously that's her purpose in the show, right? And on rewatching her episodes, her abrasiveness, I guess, works a lot better for me. And I also appreciate her a lot more than I used to. I think her voice done by Pendleton Ward, who is the creator of Adventure Time. They do the Valley Girl AdSense joke,
gag me with a spoon.
Yeah, that joke, while it's continued for the entire show, it still works whenever they decide to pull it out. And in this episode in particular, there are moments where you think, well, what's wrong with you, LSP? But other times where you're like, well, no, she's fun to hang around, maybe. Who knows? She's kind of chill. So it's a back and forth mentally whenever I watch an LSP episode. But in the end, at least this episode in particular, LSP ends up kind of sympathetic. We'll talk about her actions in here. But if you were to describe the plot of Trouble in Lumpy Space in one sentence, how would you try to do that?
An American werewolf. No, an werewolf in Lumpy Space.
Yeah, well, she specifically mentions werewolf rules in the beginning of this episode. But yeah, the basic gist is that LSP accidentally bites Jake, and Jake inherits the lumps. So they have to go to Lumpy Space to figure out how to cure Jake before he turns into a lumpy space dog for the rest of his life.
Oh my love.
Now,
Drama bomb.
Now, would Lumpy Jake be cooler than normal Jake?
I don't know. Probably not.
Well, we already said in the last episode that Jake is kind of annoying, especially in the early seasons. But Lumpy Jake, we have to admit, it would be even more annoying to be around.
Yeah, Jake by himself is super tedious. And adding on, the whole Lumpy Space aspect of him, which, had the grow in me to begin with, that would just be, oh god, just forget it.
Yeah. And,
I liked Lumpy Finn, though. He was fun.
You liked Lumpy Finn. See, I think, Lumpy Jake, he melts into the character of being a lumpy person, whereas Lumpy Finn felt like a lump poser to me. Like, like it doesn't feel like it's going all the way into lumpiness.
What was that supposed to mean?
I don't know. Like it just he wasn't as annoying or as mean as Lumpy Jake was. But maybe that's just part of like Finn's personality, like not being totally corrupted, right? Like he's starting from a better place than Jake is.
I guess.
Maybe that's just my perception, but like I think that they're both bad, but I think Lumpy Jake is like so much worse. Uh, um, But yeah, so we begin this episode actually, strangely enough, with a bouncing tea ceremony on marshmallows.
LOL is so random.
Like, what I get, they call it a ceremony. But like, what could possibly be the practical purpose of trying to drink a hot liquid while you're bouncing up and down?
I don't know. There is none. I guess for like poise and posture.
I
Like how if you've ever seen the Princess Diaries, how she has like this whole montage of how to be like this really prim and proper person, like, you know, bouncing books on the head, etc. Maybe it's like that.
I guess, but like, why force Finn and Jake to do that? There's no way you're gonna teach them to be like that kind of balanced. I don't know, and I have troubles just like drinking a hot coffee on the bus, so like let alone having like that kind of bouncing.
Well, maybe you need some princess training, Alex.
Yes, I'll take lessons from Lumpy Space Princess. Princess Bubblegum's too. If she tried giving me lessons, I think I'd quit after the first session.
I would probably cry, but yeah.
But LSP brags that it's easier for her. Finn and Jake call her out, like it's because you can float. So she turns off her floating powers, which I don't think she's done for the rest of the show, and I forgot that she can even do that. But like, what would even be the purpose of turning it off? Like why is that a thing you can do?
Can she like? How would she get around?
Yeah, like if you just
What would she do?
like I guess because she can turn it on at any time she wants, it doesn't end up mattering. But like if you turned it off, like the only way it would be like rolling around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe like her little cloud tendons at her bottom are like legs.
Yeah, because like in a much later episode, she with in the Elements miniseries, she like gets absorbed by the ground or whatever. So I guess there's a way where she can like connect to the earth maybe. But she ends up biting Jake's leg on the fall. And so immediately she lays it out. No, Jake has the lumps. This is werewolf rules. And of course, you need the antidote by sunset. It's always by midnight or by sunset. And like the weird part is, in Lumpy Space, is there a sun?
No.
Right? So
there's not.
So like, how would you even determine sunset or just time in general in that kind of place where it's just dark all the time?
Maybe it's just a form of speech, like a feeling.
Sunset is a feeling.
Like for example, there is this visual novel. I forget what it was called. I don't know if it's Analog of Hate Story, if it was Hate Plus. Anyway, it's about these like people who live on the space station, and they're up there for like hundreds of years, and so they don't know what winter or summer is. So they think that winter is like a state of mind, or like summer is a state of mind. So maybe that's the same with Lumpy Space.
Deep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so that they because they say by sunsets, it's like, oh, we got to do this right now. They find this frog portal. They mention that the password is. Would you like to say what the password is?
Yeah. Give me a second. Whatever. It's 2009.
Like, is that the funniest joke of this episode? I
yes,
think it is.
It is. As time goes on and we're getting further and further away from 2009, it's funnier and funnier.
Yeah. It just reminds you of where we were in society.
Also, this episode aired in 2010, so it wasn't even 2009 then.
Yeah, I guess in Cartoon Network must have held on to this episode for a bit, or just that joke was written a long time before.
Yeah, it probably was.
But yeah, so they take the frog portal to Lumpy Space. What do you think of Lumpy Space's design here? Because it's immediately in the second episode, we're already getting like another dimension in this universe. But how do you feel about living in Lumpy Space?
I don't know. It's more for the people who are into like galaxy patterns. You know how like in a lot of stores they're selling shirts and like hoodies with a bunch of galaxy patterns, people getting galaxy tattoos. I think that's more for them, with the clouds and stuff, but it would be an okay place to live given that there's oxygen.
It's very spacey for sure, right? And like it's all situated on clouds, and you need cars to get around. Like for some,
It's heaven.
is it heaven though? If everybody's
No,
annoying.
maybe, I don't know.
And but yeah, so it's a very impractical place to get around, but it looks nice, I guess. They get to LSP's house, and LSP mentions that the antidote is at makeout point.
Of course it is.
LSP tries to borrow the royal car, and we meet LSP's mom and dad, who are conjoined.
That would suck.
Yeah, like is it a way where like if you get married you get conjoined, or would Lumpy Space people be born like that and you're just stuck with a person forever?
I think it's like a marriage thing.
It could be, but like then like marriage ends up being even so much more important, right? Because you're stuck with the body forever too. Ew. But LSP, in her usual abrasiveness, gets mad at mom and dad, eventually telling them to lump off. Lump off, mom.
Yeah, Mom, jeez.
Yeah, so because of that.
Her mom's, you can't borrow the royal car anymore! Like, good.
Wow, you could understand her? Like, I don't know if.
Yeah.
I just have bad accent perception, I guess, because I understood the dad, but the mom, it just sounded like she was shouting gibberish.
No, she was speaking English.
Okay. Yeah, it's an even worse voice than LSP somehow.
Cause she's a nagging mother, and that's what all nagging mothers sound like.
I guess. I understand you better than the LSP's
Thank you.
mom. Like she is even.
I mean, maybe Adventure Time should hire me as a voice actress.
That's what this entire podcast is running up to, right? It's just like for them to somehow sneak us into the finale somehow.
Well, they're not going to do that because I already made it, but yeah.
We can dream. The Adventure Time spinoff, it's somewhere out there.
Okay.
But because they get the parents mad, LSP has to go get car with Melissa, who's dating her ex Brad.
Brad.
I feel like Brad is a name that gets used a lot in like for boyfriends of like bad boyfriends, because I think like in SpongeBob there was all like Pearl's boyfriend in one episode was Brad.
Wasn't it the tall, dark, and handsome guy from the prom?
Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah,
I don't know. I personally never met a Brad in my life.
Same. Like I don't know Brad's in real life, but like Brad always seems to be high school boyfriend type.
Yeah, Brad.
And Brad in this episode, like I don't get how attractiveness works in lumpiness, but like he looks very lame.
He does.
Like just a green, small, kind of just like a little lump on his head, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's pretty smooth.
Maybe that's what's attractive to teenage lumpy girls, not lumpy.
That would make sense, but then we'd have to explain these smooth. I guess they're smooth posers at makeout points why they don't have girlfriends.
Because they are lame. Duh.
Yeah, I guess they can tell the posers.
Yeah.
But they get around there. Meanwhile, Jake is still doing his transformation. There's a joke where they're playing some kind of like generic pop song. It's like, oh, I hate this song, and then, oh, I love this song.
I like barely noticed the song.
Yeah, it was too quiet, at least in the episode that I saw. But like you could tell it's just like generic pop, and like I think that is what these lumpy people would probably listen to, just like very saccharine music. Well, although the posers, I guess they'd be listening to more like indie rock or metal, or like harder.
They'd probably be like metalheads.
Yeah. They're
like, oh my god, what's a metal band? Slayer.
Sure.
Even though they're like incredibly not good people. Anyway.
They're too mainstream. They'd probably go a bit deeper than that.
Oh my god, like Cannibal Corpse or like whatever, like death metal.
Yeah. But yeah, so they make it to make out point at some point. They find these smooth guys, and they're about to get the orb, but then LSP shows up and calls them posers to their face. And
God, LSP, why do you have to ruin everything?
See, so like this is kind of like the emotional hinge of this episode, where Finn gets angry at LSP, but then LSP gets mad at Finn, and Finn feels bad in the end. Like, that doesn't really make sense.
I guess, like, given psychology, that could make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, because
the mind is...
Yeah, well, we can agree that Finn is totally in the right for being angry at LSP here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but in any case, LSP cries as she leaves, since somehow she thinks that she was still trying to help there. And Lumpy Jake follows LSP to the homecoming dance.
No, it was like prom coming, wasn't it?
Prom coming dance.
The weekly prom coming dance.
Yeah, weekly. I don't know if... Well, I guess high schoolers have lots of energy, but like it feels a bit of overkill there.
I have no clue. I've heard that like some high schools have dances after every single football game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it isn't 1955. We're not all doing sock hops anymore. We got places to go, people to see.
And what I think is you just like run out of people to dance with eventually, wouldn't you?
Well, you gotta give your pin to somebody, Alex, and then you're like a one gal guy, you know?
Okay, monogamous dancing, fine. So the Finn gets very angry at his failure, and the posers see his directionless fury, and so they let him have the orb.
Yeah, they definitely listen to metal.
Yeah, that's true, right? They particularly emphasize his anger as why they liked him. But he has to do a big jump, and so he realizes that in his human form he won't make it, so he gets them to bite him, and so he becomes Lumpy Finn.
Such self-sacrifice. Amazing.
I guess it's kind of dumb self-sacrifice if you ask me, but...
Okay, whatever. You just don't appreciate the values of sacrificing yourself for your friends.
Look, I'll do good things for my friends, but there's a limit where, like, I won't let myself get bitten by strangers in order to save my friends from something.
Okay.
I mean, if you're willing to let yourself get bitten, I mean, more power to you.
Probably. Hopefully. I don't know. I'd like to think of myself like that, but who knows?
But Lumpy Finn is unable to convince Lumpy Jake, so eventually Lumpy Finn goes all the way lumpy. I'm saying lumpy a lot in this episode. And so it ends up being where they get jealous of each other in their lumpiness, and so Jake ends up wanting the orb, and he lands on it, and then gets Finn to bump into it, and they're all healed. And
hooray!
And they apologize to LSP, even though...
Why? She's the one who got it into this mess. She should be apologizing to them.
Yeah, she did nothing in this final act. She was just dancing this entire time.
Whatever.
Yeah, and she still has the gall to act like, I'll forgive you if you have this last dance with me. She's still doing conditional forgiveness too.
Do people ship Finn and LSP?
That's a good question, because
that might be a thing. I'll look it up later.
Yeah, because later episode Breezy, we have a Finn LSP encounter that's a bit controversial. So if you look for shipping, you're probably gonna find stuff from that episode in particular. But we'll get to that when we get to that episode. And the final joke is Jake in the lumpy voice still, that sounds totally lame. And then, just kidding. And then they do their wiggly dance, and hooray, it's over.
Hooray!
And so that's our introduction to the world of LSP. Even though how many other times we see Lumpy Space? Probably like 2 or 3 other times, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
I
know, we never really revisit it. We see LSP like all the time because she like gets exiled or whatever, but or she runs away.
Yeah, that's true. Like she has chosen the life of a hobo later on in the show, but
she lives with the wolves.
She eats beans.
Yeah, my beans. Well, that was bad. Sorry, guys.
I mean, we talked earlier before this if we just wanted to do this entirely in our LSP voices, but we quickly realized that was a bad idea.
It would have gotten really annoying, and I apologize for all the times that we sort of slipped into it.
But it's so much fun.
Yeah, it was. Like, whatever.
So, would you say Trouble in Lumpy Space is better than Slumber Party Panic?
Yeah, I would, because there's like, I don't know, it's a little bit more compelling, and like, the candy people aren't there, and they're kind of like babies. And Lumpy Space Princess, like, she's the best.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that this is, while it's still goofy, but like it feels a bit more coherent than Slumber Party Panic. And of course, LSP is the star, and she's just a better, like for a humor episode, she's a much better choice than Princess Bubblegum as the third wheel to Finn and Jake. And I think like, oddly enough, this has more Jake than the first episode, but I think because it's Lumpy Jake, the jokes work a lot more because it's just him being like so over the top annoying that it's funny in the end.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Yeah. So just some final little notes here that I have. Princess Bubblegum, when they're going to the portal, she says, "I should have not drunk that much tea." So we get like,
I hate tea.
Why do you?
Tea is just, I don't know.
How dare you? Tea is very good.
I'm sure it is to other people, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I also don't like coffee.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're just against hot drinks.
I like hot chocolate.
Okay. I guess that's something. But yeah, tea, at least in my opinion, it's not as good as coffee, but you can have a really good tea, and it's really good for relaxation. It defeats the purpose of tea if you're drinking it while you're bouncing up and down on a marshmallow. That's no way to relax. But
I don't know, maybe that could be relaxing to somebody. It's like when you kind of like burp a baby, you kind of like jiggle them around and like pat their back. I think, I don't know. I've never burped a baby.
I get it. It'd be more equivalent to if you put a baby on a trampoline. Would they fall asleep that way?
I don't know. If you're like bouncing around one, then they'll probably cry and you'll probably step on them and kill them. So whatever.
So exactly the opposite of relaxation.
Oh my god, whatever.
Yeah, we have that. The license plate for Melissa's car is Sexy Lump.
Sexy Lump?
Yes, that is the license plate.
Oh my god.
Actually, we haven't really talked about this, but like, the Adventure Time has these early episodes. I feel like they have a lot more adult humor as well than I remembered it having.
Like, what do you mean?
Like just like the usage of words like "shatse" and like in the first episode, you have stuff like more stuff with like death and zombies. Like I don't know, it feels a bit less children-y in that sense. That it's willing to use those as jokes.
Yeah, I agree. My monocle also pops anytime like a Y7 or PG show says crap or sucks or sexy. Uh-huh. So whatever.
Yeah, like in the last episode, like Princess Bubblegum, I think said freaking at one point, and so I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Finn says, sorry Princess Bubblegum, but this tea party sucks or whatever in this episode.
Yeah, sucks. I guess at least back then it was still kind of a thing. Like regular show, I think kind of normalized the usage of the word suck in children's programming. But yeah, I guess back then sucks would have also been kind of a big deal.
I'm pretty sure back in the day, like a lot of the Nicktoons got into more saucier language. And I know, Hey Arnold definitely, like, said crap a lot, and crapola, and, like, a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, so...
Anyway, but yeah, minor cursing in cartoons. What's the opinion? What are the thoughts?
Yeah, let us know your opinion on calling lumpy people sexy. You can find information on our parents' podcast at overlyanimated.com. We would appreciate any comments you have there, or on iTunes, or on any other place that you listen to us. You can also send us your opinions through Discord. You can chat with us about Adventure Time or any other animated property we cover at Overly Animated at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Michael, aka Wazowski. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Andy, and Hugh. So yeah, that will wrap up our consideration for today of Trouble in Lumpy Space, and we'll be back next time with Prisoners of Love. But until then, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.